Welcome to today's episode of Between Neens and Deens. My name is Nina, and I'm joined by my best friend, partner, and baby daddy, Dayon.
And together, we're a couple of 20-something-year-olds just trying to navigate this whole first-time parenting thing.
So we're laying it all out there and talking about all the things you wish your parents told you about love, sex, and happiness. So it's been 2 weeks that we've been parents, so we're doing a little check-in. I feel like the first 2 weeks are probably the hardest. I say that now,
yeah.
But I don't know, everyone says that it gets easier.
So.
Yeah, everyone says that it gets easier because it was rough, the first couple of days. I mean, it's just such a huge gap of knowledge, you can read all the books, we've read all the books, we read all the articles, we did the breastfeeding class, and even then I know in a couple episodes ago we were we know so much about breastfeeding, but now I feel I know even more about breastfeeding. Literally every single day I'm Googling something about our baby, about my incision, about
Google has been such a help. It's helped us so much with everything. He was grunting a lot and we're why is he grunting? And then we Googling all these things. Yeah. So picking up where we left off with the last episode, you just had the baby. So I know recovery has been quite tough.
It is not at all what I expected. I mean, I didn't expect to have a C-section. So recovering from an incision, that's major surgery. And then also taking care of a newborn. I think when I thought about we're gonna have a baby, I was in my mind thinking I will be well rested, I will be as fit as I normally am. I just assumed that my state of mind and my state of body would be at its peak, but not that you're at your lowest point and then you're trying to take care of a newborn. It was just so much all at one time. I spent the first couple days definitely being this is not fair at all. How do you literally go from the longest labor and then a really rough delivery and then straight into okay, breastfeeding, taking care of this baby, learning how to change his diapers. It was just so much all at once. And I mean, it's not unique to me. That's every single mother goes through that. It's just you go from being exhausted to more exhausted and no break whatsoever.
Yeah, just getting up out of bed was so tough for you.
It was so hard.
And that was something that you had to constantly repeat because you'd have to sit up to feed our baby. And
yeah, for the first couple of days, because I had a C-section, I had a catheter in. Is that what it's called? Yeah. So it's basically a tube that is connected to your urethra, and then it just you don't even feel it happening, but you're just constantly
filling a bag with pee. Yeah.
It's just anytime that your bladder fills up, it goes straight into the bag. And it was uncomfortable walking around with a bag for sure. And so I was
you weren't really walking around with it, but
yeah, well,
sitting down
but
with the bag.
I still would have to get up to breastfeed or whatever, and
just
so
shift around in bed.
Yeah, and I still had my IV in. I was connected to all these tubes and trying to breast. It was just not my favorite time. So I was okay, I need to get out of this ASAP. So I was yeah, I can definitely walk to the bathroom and get up by myself. And I strained to do it so that she could see and then take the catheter out, but it was hard. I definitely shouldn't have walked around as much as I did. I don't think that I really realized how serious of a surgery it was. They say that whenever you laugh or cough, you should put a pillow against your incision to give counter pressure, but I didn't know to do that. So we would constantly be laughing and it hurt so much. So I think that I actually ended up stressing my incision out, and then now I have a bunch of fluid that's kind of built up around it. And some of it has been draining. I know this is gross, but this is part of it. This is part of recovery. Some of it has been draining. It still is there at 2.5 weeks now. And I went to go see the OB that did my surgery a couple days ago, and he said that the fluid should just get reabsorbed into your body in the next month or so, which is, I mean, cool, but also it's a month of just hard fluid around my incision, so that's fun. But he did say that it was pretty common for women that go into an emergency C-section when they're fully dilated. So when I looked it up, it's basically called a seroma. It's a buildup of fluid, and it happens to 2 to 5% of C-sections, which is just
and
why
you're that
why
2 to 5.
Me? Yeah.
That's insane.
So yeah, the recovery has been not super straightforward, but I mean it could have been worse. It always can be worse. So that's not the worst part of it.
What is the worst part of it?
I think the worst part of it was, I wouldn't say that I had postpartum depression. To be fair, it could also still happen. I'm only at 2.5 weeks. But the first couple days that we were at home, I definitely felt so useless. I think I'm just so used to doing things and being on top of things and then having to rely on you is still very weird to me, because that isn't always our relationship. And literally being just like on bed rest and only breastfeeding, like that was all I could do, and like nap, it was really hard to do nothing, essentially.
You gotta heal. So
yeah,
that's kind of the process of it.
And that's probably why I'm healing a lot slower, is because I tried to push myself harder than I should have in the first couple of days.
I got hit with a little bit of sad dad as well.
Yeah, they said sad dad might happen.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It was more of like a fear of like, am I doing this wrong, or am I gonna hurt him? And it happened when he had was it his first dirty diaper? Or
yeah, it was his first big time poop.
It was his first one. I think that we didn't catch it immediately. So, and just so you know, like a baby's first bowel movements are like tar, sticky, black. It's called
meconium
or something.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, we actually felt it. Like once I was holding him, and like I felt him like push out this poop, and it was like. Yeah. It was like...
It's like a little explosion.
Yeah, a little explosion, and it's literally like sticky black tar.
Yeah, so I think when the first time we didn't catch it right away, and it was like...
Because also it doesn't stink.
It doesn't smell, at all. But it was like so stuck to his body, and like... I mean, what I know now is like babies do normally cry when you change their diaper, but he was like screaming, and I had to wipe it all off, and like... It's not like, one wipe, it goes away. It's like you have to kind of rub it off, And I was like...
Because it was like crusted on him.
It was like crusted on him,
didn't catch it,
So I was like, after I did it, it was like so traumatizing. I was like crying, and I was like, I think I hurt his butt. I don't know what to do.
His butt was so red.
I was crying so much, and yeah, I think I got hit with sad dad with that one, because I was like, I don't want to hurt him. He's so precious, and...
He was only like 1 or 2 days old.
That was like a few, 2 days, maybe one,
Yeah.
That was his first first poop.
And I was like, oh, sad dad, it's gonna be okay.
And it's like he was screaming so much, so I was like, is there a way to like, because I was like asking a lot of the nurses for assistance and like tips and stuff, and they're like, yeah, let's just kind of, they don't like to have a dirty diaper, but they also don't like to get changed, so it's kind of a lose-lose situation.
They're just gonna cry.
They're gonna cry and scream regardless. So, but he's kind of getting more chill sometimes. If he's well fed, then he won't scream. But
yeah, I mean, the screaming, I think now we don't experience so much, because we kind of know like when he's being fussy or when he's about to cry, we kind of know what it is that he wants, or like we can try different things that he wants, so it really doesn't get to that point anymore. But the first couple days, like, oh my god, especially when he goes through growth spurts, this is something that we learned really recently, is that they're gonna go through growth spurts at around, I'm not even going to say now because I can't remember, but like within the first couple weeks.
I think you said within 2 days, they have one of them where they have like that, which I think he did. He had that little fussy fit where we really couldn't do anything.
7 to 10 days, and then 2 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, and then 3 months. Those are the periods when they go through their growth spurts. And when that happens, they're just going to be fussy for a couple days or up to a week. And when it first happened, when we were in the hospital and when we first came home, like, we had no idea what to do. We were like, why is he like constantly trying to eat? Like, am I not producing enough breast milk? Like, I was freaking out. I researched so much about breast milk and like how to know if you're producing enough and all these things. And at the end of the day, I realized that I was producing enough milk. It was just that he's fussy, and when he's fussy, he either just wants to suck on something or he just continues to want to feed. And even if you feel like you're not producing any milk, like your body usually is, and during that period of time in the early days, like that's when your milk is being established anyway. So it's more important for you to continue to feed and not like go straight to formula, because on the first night that we came home, we freaked out and we were like, we don't know what to do. All he wants to do is eat. I'm not producing any milk. And so we like panic bought a bunch of formula, which we don't really
now we don't use it at all.
Now we don't use. I mean, it's good to have just in case, you never know, but like, yeah, we really panicked.
It's because the first night that we got home from the hospital, in regards to the daytime, he was sleeping really nicely.
He's an angel during the day.
Yeah, but then once it hit like 9 p.m., he was just like, there was nothing you could have done for him that would have stopped him from crying. Like, it was feed, and then you have to change his diaper, and then you try to swaddle, and then you try to like soothe him in any way, and then he would need to feed again. It's like the whole cycle, like an endless over and cycle, over and over. And I'm talking about like, it comes to being like 4 a.m. where we're just so exhausted and want to sleep. So it's like, it was frustrating because we're like, what does he want? But at the end of the day, it's like, there's nothing you can really do. You just gotta be there for him, and
most of the time he just wants to be held. Like, when they're being fussy, a lot of times they just want to be held. But as parents, like, obviously you just get so tired, and like, we're trying to sleep. Yeah, we're trying to go to sleep, but like, a lot of times he just wants to be close to you and like actually held, like not put down close to you, like in your arms close to you. Like I think for the first week or so you were so like, why is he doing this? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, babies don't make any sense. Like, there's no rhyme or reason. They just cry. And, like, I think it was a big learning curve for both of us to just try and understand that, like, he's not doing it because he, like, has ulterior motives or because he's like, why are you not feeding me? I want food. You know, like, he's experiencing extreme discomfort for whatever reason. And it's just our job to, like, figure it out.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it is just that they want to be held. And I think that for us, we want him to go to sleep, but he doesn't want to go to sleep. And I think, like, as parents, you're like, hey, you feed and then you go to sleep. You feed and then you go to sleep. But that's not always the case.
Oh, man, human infants are so vulnerable.
They are.
They really can't do anything for so long.
No. And it's like, I was researching, like, SIDS, which is sudden infant death syndrome, which is just so morbid sounding. But, I mean, it's a thing. It happens. And, like, babies can die from overheating, which is just, like, if you just put them in too many layers and the room too hot, like, he would die. Like, that's crazy. But, like, yeah, they're just so fragile. And I think that's something that I knew, but I didn't realize, like, how on edge I would be about it. Like,
yeah. You gotta be careful, because, yeah, like, there's a long list of, like, how infants can die.
Yeah. And for, like, a while, too, like, up until they're a couple months. I think it's, like, 2 to 4 months is when they're the most vulnerable. So, yeah, anyways, moving on from that note.
So going back to right after giving birth, we were in the hospital for a few days.
3 days.
3 days. And we actually ended up staying longer because our baby's bilirubin levels were high, so he was jaundiced, which means they had to put him under a light and do numerous, like, blood collections and just to, like,
it's common. It's not,
it
like,
is common,
super...
yeah.
It's not, like, a serious condition or anything.
And they said specifically it's more common with Asian males. And then I was like, oh, yeah, that is what he is. I, like, forgot.
He's a half Asian male.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was kind of, like, it took a few days and we had to...
But
it was weird
honestly,
to see him in a box, but...
It was weird to see him in a box. And even though it wasn't serious, it definitely... I think for us being new parents of, like, 2-3 days, like, our stress levels were already very high. We were very tired. And, like, this is another thing I want to talk about, just kind of how it's affected our relationship with each other and how we communicate. And obviously we fought quite a bit in the first couple days the most. I don't think now we fight as much, but I think it was just our different opinions of, like, how you should do things. Like, it's definitely been interesting just going through this with you and, like, just seeing how each of us decides to parent.
Yeah, it really tests a relationship.
It 100% does. Like, I mean, we were solid AF before this, and we still are, but it's, like, I feel like if your relationship was on, like, rocky terms already, like, man, it would go out the rough. Fucking window. Yeah. Because it's just, we argued quite a bit.
Yeah. Love is the foundation, but if I hated you, bruh, we would have killed each other.
Yeah.
It's just tough when you're, like, really sleep deprived and you gotta, and, like, one person has to feed, and I usually try to rest as you're feeding, and then you're like, okay, I'm done feeding, and then I'm trying to wake back up. And then, like...
He's like, oh, no, he's not done. And I'm like, he is done. Can you please feed him and change his diaper? But, I mean, we've actually... But, like, we found, like, a good way of, like, balancing things, I think.
Now we got, like, we got more into the groove of it, for sure.
Yeah, but in the first couple of days, it was rough.
Yeah.
Especially because, like I was saying, like, I felt so useless. And I think that didn't help either.
And we just didn't know what we were doing as well.
Yeah. But I would say that... like, everything that we talked about in the last episode where, like, Dan was not a very good support person, I feel like you've really stepped up since having the baby. And, like, actually in terms of taking care of the baby.
Solid.
Because, like, yesterday, Dan left the house for a bit, and he left me at, like, 5 p.m. And so we should have known better, because this is when fussiness starts. And so he left right when I just finished feeding him, and I was like, great, he's gonna take a nap. He'll wake up by the time Dan gets back. And literally from, like, 5 to 7, he stayed awake and just, like, constantly wanted to feed, constantly crying. Like, I tried to put him down, like, he wouldn't have it. And it was just really hard because, like, Dayon is usually the one that calms him down when he's, like, crying or, like, burps him, changes his diaper. And I'm the one that, like, feeds him and, like, lets him nap on me. And then that's usually when he's calm. And so I feel like we both have, like, our different ways of calming him down that are kind of unique to us. And, like, I tried to burp him and I tried it, and it just, he was not having it. So, yeah.
We figured out our roles and, like, what works best for the baby so far.
Besides everything that's rough about being new parents, obviously it's rewarding. I'm one of those people now. I say things like that. But it's so rewarding being a new parent because it's like crazy. Like I just look at him and it's like, how was he inside of me?
Mm-hmm.
And like, how did we
so
make
cute?
him? He's so cute. He's so
such a
cute.
cutie.
And like, I don't know if that's just like as parents, you think your child is just like the cutest ever, but he's adorable and he's so entertaining.
Mm-hmm. And it's really interesting when you like, just like looking at him, I often think like, he's a little bit of you, a little bit of me, but he's like 100% his own person. And it's just like so interesting to think that like he came from us, but like he's literally can do anything he wants. He's his own entity. And like, it's just so insane.
And we're like,
what
are you thinking about? What do you see? What are you looking at?
Yeah, what are you even dreaming about?
Yeah.
Which is,
But it's crazy because like he looks so different from when obviously he was born. Yeah, but he was very cute when he was born.
Mm-hmm.
He was very cute, but now he looks so different and he's like surpassed his birth weight. So like when babies are born, then they actually lose weight. And then by week 2, they want to be back at what their birth weight is. And so now he's back and he actually is gaining like a lot of weight, which is great. So he's like gaining healthy weight, so it's only onwards and upwards from here.
Mm-hmm.
Which was concerning because he had jaundice, and when you have jaundice then they tend to lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, we were definitely worried for a while there. I was like, he's a little skinny mini.
Yeah. And we were like, because like when you're jaundice too, your skin is yellow, so we were like looking at his skin tone and just like making sure everything is okay. So far it seems like everything it's progressed. It's gone.
But it's crazy, like having a child is just like you really open your heart up to, I mean, honestly, like so much love, but also there's a lot to worry about. Like, I get it now.
There's a lot of fear for sure.
Yeah, because he's like a baby right now, like a really fresh new baby, but like so many things could happen, so many things could come up, and like it's just like even just him having jaundice, which was not a big deal at all whatsoever, like just seeing him in like the little box with the light, I was like, my heart hurt. I was like, are you okay? And it's like I don't know how parents do it when like they really do struggle with like their kids developing something, because it hurts, man. And it's crazy, like that's what you sign up for when you sign up to be a parent, is like you sign up for all this love, but you also sign up for like a lot of heartache. Like it's a lot of potential for heartache
and everything.
Yeah, it's a lot of potential for heartache. So it's funny because when I talk to my parents after obviously having the child, my mom was like, do you get it now? Do you appreciate me more? I'm like, I always did, but like, I mean, yeah, I do get it.
Yeah. The thing is though, like we kind of realized that it would be like that.
Well, you know it's going to, but it's very different when it actually happens and when you feel it.
Yeah.
Because even with you, like when you do things where I'm like, why are you doing that? Or like, that's hurting him or something like that. And I'm like, stop it. And it's like just my instinct to protect and like be like, don't do that, please.
I can imagine can only get worse when he's older. It only
gets worse, yeah. And I'm like, I'm not going to be one of those moms, but you know what? I just might. You never know. Don't hurt my baby.
You have to hold his hand when you cross the street.
Well, yeah, you have to. Are you testing me right now?
No, I'm just asking. I'm asking. Maybe I am. Maybe I am kind of testing you. But it is insane just like how much he's already changed. Like, his eyebrows came in, his face is like more defined.
Everyone on Instagram says that he looks more like Dayon, but I feel like when his eyes are closed, he looks like me. But when his eyes are open, he looks more like you.
I really feel like he's a good mix of both of us. Because like I can see a lot of your face in him. And the thing is too, I see a lot of like our parents' face. Like I see some of your mom, I see some of like, or like your mom said that she sees some of my dad in our son as well. So I see some of my brother as well. It's very interesting how like a lot of those genetics they come.
But he's gonna look so different.
They mix in. I mean, when would you know when his face is kind of?
I don't know. You don't get your face really until you're like puberty. In high school. Yeah.
Yeah. Post puberty is when it's like okay, it's stuck this way.
Yeah. So we'll go through a bunch of phases, a couple awkward ones.
That's when you'll know if his nose is actually gonna be my nose.
I think
your
it will
nose.
be.
You think so?
I really think it will be your nose.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think my nose came in until after puberty. Like the length of it didn't come in until after
the
puberty.
Brevity of your nose.
The hook though, the hook came like at 18.
Crazy. That's pretty
because I think it was like it came out bigger.
Were you ever insecure about your nose, or was it?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, I was always like, I would never change a thing about me, and I kept trying to tell myself that. But like, I was like, if I did, it would probably be my nose.
What would you want it to look like?
like just not hook downwards.
So
you know what I mean? Like not like an eagle.
A little bit.
Yeah, or like maybe just like a tiny bit more like up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this thing is, my notes came from my grandma, so it's like it's interesting how it skips generations like that as well.
Yeah, it's also interesting because I feel like going into this period, I was like, it would be so great to do like a messy vlog and kind of document what this first 2 weeks looks like. And I was like, well, why don't people do that? And then I realized when I got there that I was like, I'm literally naked 100%, like 100% of the time. It's like I wear a sports bra, which I actually didn't for the first couple days, but then my boobs really came, like, because my milk came in, so my boobs got really heavy, and I'm not used to wearing like bras at all. So I was like, fuck, like I can't carry this anymore. So then I'm wearing a sports bra, but most of the time it's down anyways because I have to feed, and then I'm wearing like hospital grade underwear constantly. So
because
like,
your incision is still...
Because my incision.
Draining, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like, this is why people don't vlog, because you're literally naked, and I'm wearing hospital-grade mesh see-through underwear.
I think you look great, though.
Thank you. I mean, I think I look great, but I just, like, don't really want to share that with the world, you know? So...
You've lost weight really quickly.
Yes. Oh, we should talk about that. I mean, obviously, when I gave birth, like, if you look at those photos, like... I was very puffy because they pumped me with like drugs and fluids, and so I was just really puffy right when I gave birth, and then pretty much immediately afterwards I got even puffier, which was very interesting because I'm like, hey, now I gave birth, everyone says it's just gonna slim right down, but like because of the fluids, like they all went straight to like my legs and my feet. I had swelled while I was pregnant, but this was swelling like none other. Like it was so chunky. Like my ankles completely disappeared. I mean, it was hard because I was like, you know, you deal with your body going through all these changes through pregnancy, and you expect that once you deliver that it would, you know, kind of slowly start that process of snapping back, but it just got worse before it got better. And like because I got a C-section, and like I was so bloated, like I had so much gas, and so I still looked very, very, very much pregnant, and it was so uncomfortable. So like, oh my gosh. Also like pooing after you give birth, I think whether or not you have an incision or you give birth like vaginally, it's painful. It's painful, and you feel like you're just gonna rip. And
yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah, like I felt like my incision was gonna rip, but I managed to, like, they gave me like stool softeners and stuff when I was in the hospital, so I managed to, and I was very, very proud of myself when I actually did poop, so that was fun. But after the first couple days of being like really swollen and filled with gas, I lost weight really quickly after that, because I think like just breastfeeding really, really helps.
Yeah.
And I was like walking around, and so that was like helping to get like the fluids out. And also my incision started draining, so like that was also getting rid of fluids. And I think within like the first week, I was definitely a lot slimmer.
Yeah, you can see it the most in your face.
Yeah,
because like your face was so puffy throughout the whole pregnancy, and then like looking at it now, like you're back to how you were.
Almost. It's almost back to how it was.
Your breasts are a lot bigger than they were.
They are. And I don't know how to deal with them because I never had boobs before. I never really wore a bra. I mean, I did when I like pretended that I had boobs in high school. I never saw you wear a bra. But yeah, but since we've been together, I never wear bras, and I just, now it's just so heavy, and like my posture is already bad, and now it's even worse. So yeah, it's a learning curve. But also like these boobs aren't gonna stay here. Like, once I finish breastfeeding, it's gonna go, like, flat like a pancake, so...
You have another thing you noticed, too. You said that your abs separated. Is that common?
I think it's common. I'm not entirely sure. But basically, when your stomach stretches out, then, like, your abs are also strained as well because they're supporting, like, all this weight in the middle. And so you can just, like, lie on your back, put your knees up, and then kind of, like, do, like, a bit of a crunch and, like, support your head. And you can feel your ab muscles. And if there's a separation in between them, then that's how you kind of know that like your abs have separated. And doing crunches is like not the way to like strengthen them, like, so don't do that for sure. There are like exercises that you can do.
Lucky you.
I know. But there are exercises that you can do to like help bring them back together. But then if that doesn't really work, then you would have surgery to bring it back together, which sounds awful. I honestly never want to have surgery again in my entire life.
That's fair.
Because I don't trust my body because of the fluid situation right now. I'm like, I don't trust you to heal properly, so let's just not go through this again. But I mean, I'm only 2.5 weeks into my recovery, and it takes like 6 to 8 weeks to heal properly, and sometimes even longer than that. And then they say that it takes like up to 6 months to actually get back to where your body was before, and it might not ever go back to the way it was before, but like kind of similar to where you were.
You're changed forever.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I am. I can't imagine
that. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing, like, but it's just like whatever my body will look like when I will feel better about myself will probably happen at around 6 months. So right now, like, I'm not really stressed about it. And I actually, when people said that, like, when you breastfeed, you'll lose weight a lot faster, I was like, great, that means I can eat whatever I want and I'll lose weight. And that's 110% not the case, because I was eating like crap the last couple of days and I just feel so awful. And when you actually look it up, like, basically the things you're supposed to eat is like protein, vegetables, and fruit, which is the same exact thing that I did when I was pregnant. So really nothing has changed.
So you felt like it's like, okay, now I can finally eat what I want.
Yeah.
And then they hit you with the actually keep eating.
Maintain the diet.
Maintain the same
and
nutrition.
I mean, it makes sense because it's like you need the nutrients to like make good breast milk for your baby. Also to not feel like crap, and to also like get your body back to the way that it was, or like help it bounce back faster. So it makes sense. It's just like, damn.
Yeah. But you can shamelessly eat sashimi, which is nice.
Oh my god, yeah. We've been eating quite a bit of sushi, which has been fantastic. But other than that, the recovery process has been okay.
We had a lot of friends drop by and bring us some food, which was really helpful and amazing.
That was really nice.
That was super nice. And it's just it's tough with like how it is right now, where like they can't actually come in and meet the baby, but it's good that like they can like see him from a distance. And yeah, it's nice that like they made us food so we don't have to worry about that too much. And
that was really nice.
Yeah,
and
but
like,
they are lifting the ban soon.
They are lifting it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we should go
invite
and see
everybody.
A bunch of people, because like he is still a newborn. He has like no immune system really. So if he gets sick, like that would be really fucking tragic.
Awful.
So yeah, I mean, it's like they are lifting the bans, so I mean, we can slowly start kind of integrating back into normal life, but I think it's like important that we still stay quite cautious about who we bring around, and like making sure that everyone isn't sick. And I think that this whole time has kind of taught people to be more accountable of those things, and hopefully also like workplaces and schools will be more understanding when people are like, hey, I'm sick, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, well, no, you have to come into work. Because it's crazy. It's like when you work in a restaurant, you'll be sick and they're like, but we really need you to come in. And it's like, you're handling food. And it's like, it's
pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like we both worked at restaurants, and like I don't know what your experience was like, but I've definitely had days where I'm like, oh, like I can't come in. They're like, oh, can you just for a couple hours? And it's like, I get it, like I get that you're fucked if I don't come in, but also it's food.
It's like, yeah, you have to be careful.
Yeah.
I always feel guilt when I have to call.
Yeah.
Like when I have to call in sick, I always feel a little bit guilty. But I mean, you have to. Like you have to. There's like no end,
or a
ifs, buts, and maybes.
A pandemic might start.
Exactly. Yeah. You don't know what I have.
So that's pretty much been our first 2 weeks of parenthood. It is exactly what everyone says it's supposed to be.
The roller coaster of emotions. It's extreme fatigue. It is sleep deprivation like no tomorrow. But it's also so cute and so fulfilling, and just like...
We'll never have this again, like our first newborn baby.
He will never be smaller than
That's why,
what he is right now.
every single time that I'm frustrated or I'm so tired, like I try to just tell myself, like, you're gonna want to like remember this and savor this, because as stressful as it is, like he will never be this tiny again. Yeah,
we still have to cherish it, even though like all he does is pee, poo, cry, sleep.
Oh, but I'm so excited for when he actually like smiles.
Can socially smile.
Socially smile and like laugh. Oh, I'm so excited, because right now like he still smiles, but he has no control over his face, so he's just like flexing his muscles and stuff.
But again, we still need to cherish these moments.
I know. That's why like
we always get ahead of ourselves.
I keep catching myself being like, oh, like I can't wait until he does this or this or this, and I mean that's why I'm trying to take like so many photos and videos, because I'm like, I'm gonna want to remember him as like this tiny little peanut.
With the digital age too, like I feel like we have so many more photos than I think our family has of us.
There's just too many. Yeah.
There's way too many. But the thing is, like, we've been documenting a lot on film, and I think those will be really nice to like go back to and see, because like going through my Google Drive of all the baby photos, I don't know if that's the move.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. It's like how when we have to go to school and they're like, oh, bring in a baby photo of yourself, and you bring in like a film photo, like his age, like you're gonna have so many photos to choose from.
Yeah. Everyone's gonna have, well, they probably already have an IG account made for them as a baby. So.
Yeah, that's true. Just bring in your IG handle on your iPad.
Oh my days, how different.
It's gonna
be
Who knows?
So I think, who knows how they're gonna do the whole picture thing. Film, or is it gonna be just digital?
Yeah, it probably will just be digital. I don't think a whole lot of people do film anymore.
Anyways, we are, again, getting ahead of ourselves. So I think it's time to wrap this up. We've been rambling quite a bit, and that's been our experience for this past few weeks now. So make sure to follow us on Neens Deens. My personal handle is Dayon's Day Off.
Mine is Your Girl Neens, and we'll see you guys next week.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, let's go get some sleep.
I'm down.